Wait, good morning. Welcome, gamers, to the BlueGamer Bluecast Morning Show. I'm your host, Adam Blue, over 30-year veteran of video game enthusiast type activities. I don't know. I'm trying to find a way to word that to sound awesome. I think it sounds awesome, at least to me. Like if I was at a party meeting people and they're like, "Yeah, I consider myself a professional video game enthusiast," I would be like, "Okay, you're cool. I like the cut of your jib." And then I decided to go look at the mic levels just in case it resets again. But so far, so good. So to get into what I have been playing, uh, I guess the past day because it's just been a day, right? And not too much. So it started with some V Rising. Again, playing on PC using a gamepad. You know, one interesting I think thing to talk about is how, I've talked about some various times this Vader 3 Pro, which I think is like the best gaming controller you can get out there, and not just by me, but by Gamer Heaven is a YouTuber that I follow. He does extensive reviews, and he'll still call this one out, even though he'll review a newer gamepad that's pretty cool. And I'm just glad because I see when that sort of common like reverberation of an interest shows up, then it's like, okay, there's something there. Now, as much as I like this controller because it has the full package, because I'm playing a lot of I play video games a lot, it gets deeper. So I took this controller, one that I got before it that I really like, that doesn't have all the same features, but some of the basic stuff that I prefer, which is the way the controls feel. And then this Machinike Pro, which is actually a really good one too. All three of these have the mechanical membrane style switches for the buttons. But after using all three of these extensively, as much as I prefer this controller in general overall, this has the best satisfying feel. And it's like, that doesn't matter, does it? But it was interesting. I was playing a game the other day, and I forget what game it was. It was a game where I had to be mashing the face buttons to attack, and I was like, I don't like how this feels. It's like I felt it feel better before, and I think that's just something else when you play games so much. The way your hands work with the controller is one of the most important things. That is the barrier between us interacting with the game, and so I think it's so important to listen to what you feel or think when you're using a controller. So basically, what I'm saying is, as a video game enthusiast, even though I've bought this and this is the best controller to use, I'm still willing to look through, buy more, test more out. So yeah, when I was playing V Rising yesterday, I switched to this controller, and I just prefer the button presses on this. It feels nice. Everything else is about the same, I'd say. On this one, it doesn't have the trigger stops. But I don't know how important that really is. I still haven't decided 100% either way. But yeah, other than V Rising, the other thing I did was I was testing out using this app called PS Play. Now, let me see if I can. And it's actually, if I'm not mistaken, it's on Windows too, but I was trying this on Android. Yeah, I can share my screen and show it. So this PS Play Remote Play, Sony's got their own Remote Play app. This one is a third party, kind of like Chiaki, if you are familiar with Chiaki, which works better than PS Remote Play. Although this PS Play Remote Play, those names are very similar. It was hard. I would say off the bat, it seemed like it worked better. But here's something I've noticed with the PlayStation Remote Play that I didn't get with Stadia. And it's like, I felt like when I was playing on Stadia, if there was some sort of network buffering that was occurring, I would see it visually with artifacting within the game world. But if I use PlayStation's Remote Play, a lot of times there'll be like frame skips where I guess something got delayed and then jumped ahead. Chiaki seemed to be the best. This one seems to be a bit better. Although, so I was testing out yesterday with Symphony of the Night Richter mode, and I noticed, even though I was able to play for a while fine, there would be that maybe within a 20-minute session, there could be 5 or more hiccups where it's the network trying to catch up with itself. So when I'm doing my, attacks with the whip and I'm timing it correctly, there were some times where it wasn't doing what I was inputting, and I'm like, okay, that's a network hiccup. And so you gotta think to yourself and ask, like, am I willing to deal with that? I think for some games that's okay. Something like, I think, a Symphony of the Night, not necessarily, but we're getting there. The one thing I need to try is the GeForce Now, because I keep hearing good stuff about it. I keep hearing from people that use it that, like, they'll just get on. They even have a good PC. They'll just get on their PC and launch GeForce Now anyway, because it's so much easier to get into a game, play it, optimized. I'm gonna have to test that out. I really want to see what that technology is all about. Okay. So, and I will say too, like, Amazon Luna seems to be pretty good as well. So Stadia, Luna has got it down. I think it's any company that tends to already have some sort of cloud infrastructure. And, Sony is not known for having a cloud infrastructure, because with like Google and Amazon and Microsoft, people are paying to utilize their cloud infrastructure for just foundational things. So those companies would know that anyway. It's very interesting. Okay, and then what else did I play? I felt like, so I want to play through and beat again with the emulators, with the achievements. Super Castlevania 4. It's a 1991 Castlevania that came out kind of like a remake of the first one. The same story, same characters, different kind of level designs and enemies. It's a fun one. It's one I had on the Super Nintendo back in the day, and I would play. But hold on. Okay, that morning sneeze just happened. All right. Maybe we should jump into news, because there's not really any other game stuff that I can really talk about. So let's do that. And we'll start with actually one that I saved I wanted to talk about. And this is 3 Game Boy games available for Switch Online members. So interested in that, because if you have Switch Online, it's nice that you can have like this seamless official way to play emulated games. Even though I would prefer them to have them all available, I just like Nintendo does this anyway. Because do you really need every game available to you at all times? No, but it's nice to have a back catalog you can go through. So they've got Alleyway, Baseball, Super Mario Land. Don't know if I ever played Baseball, because I had a Game Boy back in the day. And in fact, like, my sister had the Game Boy, which I thought was odd thinking back to that. But that's okay, because my sister let me use it anytime, wasn't an issue. And then I got the Game Gear. But anyway, Super Mario Land, very fun, unique, different Mario game. If you haven't played that on Game Boy, I mean, it retains kind of this similar. I would say it's like how Mario 2 in the US was to the original Mario. It's like, it seems different, but it's Mario craziness. It's the later Mario games on the Game Boy that actually like get even better. Even the Wario. I tell you, there's a lot of good Game Boy and Game Boy Color games that I need to go back to and either play seriously, which back in the day, sometimes playing a Game Boy game was like, yeah, this is all right. Or just to check out, because I haven't checked them out before, like Mario Land 2. I played Mario Land 2. I just don't remember it that well, but I just remember it being great. There was like the 6 golden coins or something like that. Yeah. So cool. Super Mario Land, Alleyway, Baseball. I might check out Mario Land later. All right. So, you know what? I was supposed to be sharing that, but it was just the picture of Mario Land, Alleyway, Baseball. All right, getting into news, Saints Row, the reboot, was likely the lowest selling in franchise history. One says it was likely, so I don't know what the news is here, but I think that makes sense. Like, I actually have it, haven't played it. It was free on Epic Game Store. This, I think a lot of it had to do with the identity. Like, when it came out, it's just Saints Row, where there's already been sequels. Plus, the characters just look like everyday. Yeah, I think what this game didn't have was an identity to sort of, because when it came out, I was like, okay, Saints Row, okay. But Saints Row what? Because the other ones were so goofy. I do still want to play it because it has good gunplay. Probably a fun game to just run through. Okay, Mortal Kombat 2 movie has been given a 2025 release date. So that's interesting because I don't know if you guys saw that first Mortal Kombat movie that just came out a couple years ago. Yeah, 2021. It was not good. The design was good. The characters were cool. It did the thing everyone was complaining about by introducing a new character and then make it centered around him. And it's like, well, but apparently this movie though did well enough to make a sequel. So happy about that because this sequel could mean that maybe they can double down on some ideas more rooted in Mortal Kombat than filmmaking, if you know what I mean. Because again, the last movie had this narrative structure of introducing a new character that's not in Mortal Kombat, but making it where you follow him around. It's always annoying. So yeah, same director. So that's not saying too much. So we'll see when it comes out. Carl Urban is Johnny Cage. That's pretty awesome. Let's see if they're getting any other people in here. I do not recognize these other names. So, So yeah, let's see. Let's see. Oh yeah, that's funny. So that Mortal Kombat Annihilation, the sequel to the original Mortal Kombat, I think it's so bad it's good because I remember when I saw it in the theater and I'm like, what are they doing? And then somehow I got it on DVD and I would watch it over and over. And I'm like, this is just schlocky craziness. And I love it. But it didn't need to happen that way. All right. Let's see what else is going on. All right. So they're saying 1.7 million units. I mean, that's not bad considering the situation. That's interesting. It cost $100 million to develop, which maybe seems to be at the higher end, actually. But we know the industry is completely different now, so. All right. Yoko Taro making a new game. Might be near. It might not be near. So let's see. Yeah. I always like these kind of more interesting auteur developers. Wow, we're seeing this Game Boy thing repeated so much, and it's already yesterday's news that there might not be too much more going on. EA Sports College Football 25 won't be on PC. That seems weird. I don't know the background with making football games, but not having something on PC seems odd. PS5 shipped almost 5 times more than Xbox Series XS in Q1. But again, it's interesting. Like, I don't think people take into account where, and maybe this isn't related and it's just in my mind, like as someone that uses Game Pass, I'm rarely on my console. Like I could see someone just getting Game Pass and just using PC, which is I think what Xbox understands. So sometimes when I see these comparisons, I'm like, well, sure, PS5 sold more and it makes sense because PlayStation is sort of like the pop music of video games, that's the thing you get. But Xbox is it's just the hardware is just one means of playing Xbox games because you just go on PC. Even though not every Xbox game can be played on PC, there's just enough of that where I think, people that are adopting how gaming will work in the future are going in that direction. XDefiant will have no SBMM in casual playlist. Yeah, I'm interested in how XDefiant's going to play. Again, it's Ubisoft. It's another one of these shooters that they're trying to make popular. To me, it's very easy to be like, well, that looks just like anything else. But I'll always remember Helldivers 2. I was like, why are they doing this? Why are they making this? But then when you play Helldivers 2, you realize they took care of how it feels. That's what it makes it stand out. So hopefully XDefiant can stand out. Yeah. New Assassin's Creed Shadows key art leaks online ahead of reveal. Very cool. Yeah, this is that one I think we talked about a little bit yesterday where there's going to be a samurai. There's 2 protagonists, a samurai and a shinobi. That is very cool. let's see, anything else interesting going on? There's this season 4 Loot Reborn, which is like, to me, that's to breaking the fourth wall for a video game about what it is basically at its core for the company to make money. Is that really what it's called? Yeah, that's kind of crazy that they're calling it that. Okay. Dead by Daylight Roguelite gets a surprise release and 2 million copies are free. What? Let's see. Oh, yeah, and this, I heard Castlevania. So, Ultronymous, I know we talk about Dead by Daylight every once in a while, but because they've got Evil Dead, a bunch of other cool stuff, but now Castlevania. Okay, so their game is called What the Fog. Huh. So, maybe I saw this and just skipped over it. Oh, I did see this. This actually does look interesting, but again, I did kind of skip over it because I was like, well, so it looks like a third-person shooter game just at its core, but it has some interesting, almost like up character design from, that Pixar movie. But it looks like it has like hero shooter style mechanics going on where you have abilities you're using that have cooldowns, but it also looks like there's potentially objectives within these missions. And it's only $4.99, so I'm gonna have to. I want to hear more about this. This is very interesting. Especially coming from the Dead by Daylight devs, because I gotta say, for a game that I haven't played that much, I hear about it all the time. They're always adding content to it, and then they're making these little things on the side that are a little different, which is pretty neat. So, yeah, I'll have to check that out sometime. Hades 2 debuts in first on the Steam charts. Yeah, and it's very interesting because of the it's early access. I don't know. I think early access is good for the game, but it's of the individual. And I was talking about this yesterday. Like, if you get into a game in early access, I think it removes you from being able to enjoy what a complete experience could be. But then you might not mind. So, okay, cool. See, V-Rise, so it is popular. So I don't need to talk about V-Rising that much. I knew it was popular, but it's like still hanging with Helldivers 2, Hades 2. Very interesting. Let's see. Yeah, and it's funny because in V-Rising, I'm almost to where I can fight Simon Belmont and get a whip. So that's going to be cool. Still have to do the loop of upgrading stuff. Let's see. And another thing too, when I see like Hades 2 in early access, considering Hades 1 it's like that is the early access to me. The early access is more of just a way to hype it more. Because you can say, oh, this isn't really our final release. And then you could completely change a game if you need to. For some reason, I don't feel like Hades 2 needs to be early access. I don't know. Maybe I'm missing something. It's just, Baldur's Gate 2 worked out great. But again, that was like this company making this thing on their own. That was kind of new and different at that scale for them. So, what else is going on? Oh yeah, we talked about this yesterday. So it looks like we're getting into a lot of yesterday news. A thing again with Square Enix about like none of their games sold the way they wanted them to. Yeah, this news goes even further back. Yeah, so not too much. Oh, here we go. Tomb Raider TV series from Phoebe Waller-Bridge, greenlit by Amazon. That could be cool. Yeah, down for some Tomb Raider. I didn't see that last movie that came out about it. It's interesting. Tomb Raider's like, yeah, that's a video game property I recognize, but it's like I kind of don't care too much about it. I played those of this last trilogy. I played the first two and they were really good, but then when I was playing the third one, I was like, I think I got my fill actually, and I just moved on. But I feel like there's more they could do. I almost feel like too they should make they should make her more of a comic book character, which is almost like how she was portrayed originally. I think sometimes these things get to be gritty and realistic, but then they don't have an identity. I don't know if Laura has much of an identity to me when I think of the character, because I always feels like there's multiple phases of. And I guess to explain what I'm saying, like when I think of Halo and Master Chief has this identity. It's this guy that never reveals his face. That's kind of like his gimmick. And he's always talking as if he's going to kick some ass. And then he does. It's kind of like a comic book gimmicky thing. And I would even say God of War kind of messed that up too. I know some people like the newer God of Wars, but I think it kind of took away the more comic book way where you can get away with storytelling with Kratos. The new one, they tried to keep the emotions and the drama a little grounded, which, hey, it sold a lot for PlayStation. But if you talk to people online, they do miss the old God of War. Anyway, I'm just ranting. And then, that's right. This Project T, it's a Dead by Daylight universe game coming out, which is pretty cool. Is a 1 to 4 player PvE co-op shooter. That's cool. PvE. That's the way to go about it. It would be cool in this if you can get all the same skins that they released in the Dead by Daylight game. The casting of Frank Stone, don't know much about this. But yep, from Supermassive Games. Better check that out. Okay. Oh, so Game Pass got Immortals also. So that was on PlayStation 5. It looks like it's coming to Game Pass also. I wonder if any of these other... Let's see. So today, May 15th, Chance of Sonar. It's a puzzle game. EA Sports NHL 24. So Immortals of Avium. Again, playing on PS5. So, but I like that. Then, if you have Game Pass, you could check it out, because I feel like it is a quality game to have on Game Pass. Senua's Saga, Hellblade 2. So this is the main deal on the 21st, right? How far away is that? Okay, we'll have another week. We got the weekend. I was hoping to maybe try it out before then, because I'm just really curious to see how this goes and what people think about it. Just in terms of Xbox and all that. Lords of the Fallen, May 30th. Okay, so that was something that was rumored and is actually happening. That's cool. Like to check that out. And then there's these other little things other games I've never really heard of moving out to. That's funny. Let's see. And then some DLC coming out. I do want to play that Vampire Survivors Operation Guns. So I might do that. And it was like super cheap. Wasn't it like $2 or something? Speaking of $2, I totally forgot. I was on my Switch yesterday, and in the store there was like this Garfield kart racer for $1.99, and I was like, I'll go ahead and get that, and I'll play with the family this weekend or something. Yeah, it's crazy. I am so I have so much anticipation with how the Hellblade 2 release is going to come out, how Xbox is going to talk about it, because it almost seems like they're not talking about it or pushing it too much, unless I'm just not paying attention. But I am grabbing video game news every day to talk about and listening to different shows and podcasts, and it's not being talked about too much. And you know what? I just wonder if it's either where they don't think it's a good game, but they're going to release it anyway, or how much of it is, maybe it is a good game, but they've realized this is not the direction we're going to be going. We're just going to release it. It'll be on Game Pass. I don't know. I hope it feels like when I play Immortals of Avium, where it's like, yeah, maybe mechanically this isn't the game that I stopped playing everything to play, but hopefully the production value that seems to be high in this is enough to make it an interesting time, and enough to make Xbox, because I love that PlayStation got Helldivers 2 and Stellar Blade at the beginning of the year, which are both very fun games that a lot of people like. I want to see like that same thing happen with Xbox at the same time as Sony. I like it when, both. I mean, yeah, you could say Xbox got Pal World, so kind of that did happen. It's just Pal World is not a game I play or care about, so I guess I'm not really thinking about it. But hopefully, Hellblade 2 does that for Xbox. But the other thing is Xbox is going to have some announcements coming up pretty soon in June. And so, yeah, I'm hoping there's going to be that neck and neck between Sony and Xbox, because that's the stuff I like. I don't like, especially with what's been going on lately with, Xbox and PlayStation changing things up, PlayStation getting 2 new CEOs, Xbox doing good with things too. And it's weird how online people are almost, I think it's something we've learned recently. People all are doom and gloom when it comes to Xbox, but with PlayStation, it doesn't seem to be as much. And I think that's not like a reality. It's more of when it comes to people on the internet, you're going to get more vocal PlayStation people than you'll get more vocal Xbox people. But you'll get a lot of negative Xbox stuff when Xbox stuff happens that's negative, because people tend to just speak on the negativity when it happens. Does that make sense? It's like a numbers game, and we could see it in the sales. We could see it when people are talking online. And the only reason I make that a big deal is because I like the idea of especially during it would go back, during the 360 era, I think was some of the coolest, because there was this back and forth where any console manufacturer could be the coolest one out there. I mean, even when the Wii came out, and people like me recognized, well, this isn't necessarily for a gamer like me, but there were still cool games we were playing on it and stuff. So, yeah, no one is more vocal than pissed off gamers. Yeah, it's I wish that energy could be used in another way, but and that's also another thing that maybe these video game companies need to take into account. The whole idea is, okay, we know, even though the vocal people negativity on the internet is not the majority, maybe at least we can mess with the messaging in the way to kind of either sully that, dull it down, or kind of change the narrative. Because I think for me, change is good. Like, even though there's crappy stuff happening in the video game industry because of layoffs and games getting canceled, delayed, we're seeing this shift where it's like, well, budgets can't be this big. And it's like, yes, let's come back down. It's the same thing with the MCU. Big budgets, explosions, things everywhere. Yeah, let's come back down. Let's focus on what makes something really fun and go on from there. Anyway, so that was fun to kind of rant a little bit at the end, because as much as I enjoy and love this stuff, I hate it when I have to sift through negativity. But I think people are coming around to it. It just, we'll see what Xbox has to say coming up here pretty soon. And I think it's cool stuff. I really do think every manufacturer right now has some cool stuff to announce. It's just, we're waiting for it. We're hungry for it. So, you know what? And that kind of reminds me how we've kind of changed our habits too, because I'm about to end this, but it just made another point where, I think as the greater commercial marketing economy, I think habits have changed where people are also not buying as much, or they're deciding, to only buy one game or another. And that might fuel more time to have discussions online about being mad that you can't afford something, but then you would probably speak on that anger in another way, that, I just don't like Xbox. Not that you don't like Xbox, you can't afford it, but you don't want to talk about that because of the kind of economic pressures just make you feel like this is your reality. I don't know. I'm kind of diving into more of the psychology around it, because I do think when someone's being negative online, that's not really who they are. That's more of an outlet for them. Anyway, all, thanks for watching. This was fun. We'll do it again tomorrow, but until then, be cool.